We purchased it at 4.5 million.
Yeah.
And we set a budget of 2 million. Yeah, it's interesting really because an agent had already come to us just over a week ago and said, I have a buyer. He has a budget of 10 million. Would you be interested?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the JB Show, another episode, and today I'm with a guest called Jonny. Now, Jonny is somebody who I met on social media, so he actually reached out to me a while ago, and he told me, Joe, I like your videos, which was, a very nice compliment, and obviously we got talking after that, and we started following each other, and I started seeing Jonny's projects that he's doing on his Instagram, so, renovating and rebuilding a big villa of his, and we got talking, and, I think it would be a good opportunity to get this guy on. So Jonny is ex-army, he's been in Dubai for 10 years and he's got a very impressive story to get where he's got now. So guys, Jonny's on the show, and what have you got to say, mate? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for the invite, Joe. It's great to be here. Obviously been following your content over that past few months. Really good content on there. It sort of resonated with a lot of things that I'm doing in terms of the property, renovations and the market and so on. Just for my background, I was back from the UK, lived in a place called Wigan, joined the Marines when I was 16 and a half, served in Iraq and Afghanistan, did a lot of work for 7 years there, and then got a job opportunity out in Dubai. So that was my first sort of exposure with the UAE and Dubai. Quite a full-on place to begin with, quite overwhelming. I did take around 3 to 6 months to sort of find my feet and get comfortable. But once I found myself here, an amazing place to live and to operate and work as a business operator.
Yeah, amazing, mate, amazing. So take us back, obviously, before you came to Dubai, you told us you served a bit of time in the army, so how many years were you serving?
So I did 7 years as a Royal Marine Commando, served in Iraq in 2001 and Afghanistan 2006. Amazing bunch of guys, taught me a lot of skills and attributes that I still use to this day in terms of like determination, willpower, etc., physicality. It's a really it led me on the right path to get into business. Fortunately, and again, a lot of similar guys from either military, army, parachute regiment, they all move out to here. So we've got a nice bunch of guys who still keep in touch now, which is nice.
Amazing, mate. So, I spoke about this before, but when I've met people who have obviously been in the army, they take away a lot of the skills that they've learned. And as I was mentioning before we had this podcast, there are two types of people that come out of the army, in my opinion. The ones that really use everything that they've learned and they apply it to something, and a lot of people that I've met become really successful from it because they've got that grit, that determination, the mental resilience to not give up. And then unfortunately, obviously, you've got the side where some people, they suffer a little bit, which is really sad to see, and God bless them all, hopefully they get the help they need. But we see guys like yourself, you've done that well in the army, you've come out here, you've started a completely new business, you've taken the risk. And I want to know, what did you apply the growth knowledge that you got from the army to your businesses to make it to where it is now?
We take a lot of skills from there. They give you sort of that leadership, confidence and so on. The businesses that I founded and operate here at the moment are all linked or intertwined with either that industry or that sector. We have a business that supplies defence equipment, whether it be body armour, specialist equipment to private security companies, oil and gas, diplomatic missions operating in complex and hostile environments. Again, a big network within the military. A lot of guys are out there operating in these complex locations, doing business there. So having that network has allowed us to grow the business and build relationships with these private companies. And again, their requirements that come into us, we deliver and grow the business from there. So that business has been operating since 2017. We then set up a medical and pharmaceutical business. Again, a lot of the requirements were for medical equipment, pharmaceuticals for the paramedics and team medics to allow them to operate safely with the right equipment in case the worst happens. And then we was facing a lot of challenges with logistics, customs clearance, and final mile delivery to some of these remote areas. So we decided to set up a freight broker company so we could take that element out, and we could use everything in-house within our companies. And since then, everything's sort of been going in the right direction, and we've been growing the businesses.
Amazing. I mean, listen, I've had a lot of entrepreneurs on my podcast before, and you know, what do you think motivates you to keep going? Because this is a lot of business that you're taking on, you know,
Yeah.
although it's all interlinked with each other, you know, it's still a lot to think about. You know, each business requires employees, each one requires structure, each one requires, you know, things in place to grow. But, you know, sometimes I'm sure it can get the better of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what excites me with the businesses, is because you have to get critical equipment. You know, it's not a piece of furniture that it doesn't matter when you really deliver.
No, these are weapons and stuff, right?
Well, it can be a wide variety of controlled goods, everything from
yeah.
armoured vehicles to, you know, pharmaceuticals, medical equipment, and so on. So whatever that customer needs to operate safely and effectively in that environment, they will give us a list of equipment they need, and we will source it, make sure it's high quality, it's durable, it's within the price range they need, and we will deliver it to the destination within lead times that they need. So again, usually within 30 days, which for most companies is acceptable. If you need medical equipment delivering to Iraq, Somalia, Libya, you have to get it there quick because there's a need for that.
Yeah.
Medical equipment was out of date. You need to make sure that obviously there's constant supply chain replenishment of the equipment that way. I think that's what excites me the most about it. That's what makes me wake up in the morning, gives me that drive, is that, you know, this is a serious business that we're operating, and, you know, potentially people's lives are on the line if we don't get this right. So we have to get it right 100% of the time.
It's incredible what you must have to go through. The pressures, the stress, you know, if something gets lost, you know, it's like, oh, well, I'm sure you won't lose it. That's your job to not lose it. But like the thought of this, if it could go wrong, there's a lot of pressure on it.
Yeah, and that's us obviously understanding the customer's user case, what they need, how they operate, and we have years of experience in delivering to these environments anyway. We have trusted partners, clearing gauges, etc. So we're able to do that effectively.
Yeah.
And again, if you do a job well for one customer, usually that reputation will spread quickly. So it's been really good for us. We've delivered a lot of high-profile orders for, you know, embassies, different types of state departments, and so on. So it's been really good, really interesting job to do, and obviously quite proud of what we've achieved. I'm
sure it is. And you know, you spoke about a couple of your friends who were in the military who served as well. Do you say a lot of them came to Dubai as well?
Yeah, I think it's sort of a melting pot. You know, we're sort of travelling quite regularly through our military careers. It seems to be whether guys are working as contractors in Iraq on the oil fields, or doing private security, close protection work in different environments. Dubai seems to be the hub,
the meeting ground.
Yes, yeah. So one, for easy access into these locations. You know, we're not a million miles away from some of the more complex or, you know, hostile areas.
Of course, yeah.
But again, it's just a good place to live, and obviously the standard of living is really high. And again, you've got all the benefits with nightlife, food and beverage here. You know,
of
you've
course,
got the best of everything.
Good party as well,
yeah,
of course.
Like
so from a growth perspective, being in Dubai, it's one of the most beneficial and best places to be right now. I think you'd agree.
We find that, you know, as a business operator, and obviously to live here, the links, sea freight are amazing. How to be able to import goods into here, transit it through to the next destination. We just find it really user friendly as a business. You know, we can get things moving pretty quick. It's set up to enable businesses to grow quickly, and to have everything you need at your disposal to do business. Once you understand how businesses can be set up here, the pros and cons of, say, a mainland, free zone, etc., and find the best business for you, then everything else is easy to, you know, carry on with. Bank accounts, setting it up, etc. All once you've got the foundations in place, you can carry on as normal.
And of course, obviously, we don't pay tax.
Massive benefit.
I mean, you do pay a little bit of tax sometimes if, you know, you're a certain type of business, but I mean, most people come over here, you know, not only to avoid tax, but I think being in a growth mindset all the time, You know, being in a growth mindset, being in a place where it almost seems like there's no limits to what you can achieve, you know. And that's why I love Dubai. And I've said this a few times on my podcast, and to be honest, everybody who comes on here says the same thing. So tell us, you know, how do you, you know, you've been here for 10 years now.
Yeah.
I want you to talk to me about how you've seen the property market evolve over the last 10 years.
So when I first got here, I was given quite some bad advice, what I see as bad advice, and I was told never to buy here, it's too risky. And that stuck with me for a few years. Later on in life now, I know better. I'm sort of kicking myself for taking that information on board. If I could have got into this earlier, I should have, but I still got in a good time, really. My first property purchase here was 2 years ago, so it's still quite late from when I first got here, 8 years in, and it was a commercial shell and core. And it was through the network that I'd built here. One of the people that I knew, he said he was selling his units, he needed some cash quickly. So we had a conversation, agreed a price. I checked out the rate per square foot, did some research, what were the rental yields, what were the rental rent achieving for that building, for that community, how much fit out would cost, etc. And I thought, do you know what, I've no experience in this whatsoever, but I've calculated enough risk there to make sure that, if it does come off and everything goes smooth, there should be a tidy profit in there. So purchased the unit, fitted it out for a really good price, and then we rented out with a 15% yield on that. Yeah,
15% yield on an office space.
Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it? So, we spoke about this going forward. You decided to invest a little bit more. So tell us about your journey. So like I said, guys, Jonny, I've seen him on his Instagram building this incredibly huge villa, and I had to ask the question. I was like, what's going on here? Are you a property developer? What's going on? And we spoke about it, and this is why I was excited to get him on, because he could have I wanted him to explain in depth what exactly happened.
So a little bit of a long story. Me and the wife, we currently renting. We was looking to purchase somewhere. We'd saved up enough money for a deposit. Wanted something quite large. We were searching a community called Green Community, which is in Dubai Investment Park 1, where we currently rent there. Amazing community, very tranquil, a lot of greenery there, a little bit out of Dubai area, maybe like 10-15 minute drive, but it's fine for us. Really peaceful, and it's what we wanted, really. We went to an agent. We knew this agent a long time, really good guy, company's reputable. We've kept in touch with him ever since, and we came to him and said, look, this is what we want, this is our budget, can you find anything for us? He went out through obviously his network, and we was finding a couple of options for family villas, which was about 5,000 square foot villas. I think it was 4 or 5 bedrooms. Viewed a few of them, good layouts, nice building, but they weren't in the greatest of locations. It was backing onto either the main roads at the back or near the cooling facilities, etc. So we went away a little bit disheartened. So we said, not a problem, we'll keep searching. And then we got a phone call and said, just out of interest, would you be interested in a luxury type villa? So we said, what's that? So he said, 7,500 square foot, 12,500 square foot plot. We laughed and said, this is massively,
absolutely huge difference.
Massively too big for us, but probably out of our budget. And he said, well, actually, it was off the market. The buyer had obviously agreed a price with the seller, but he couldn't facilitate funding for whatever reason, so he pulled out, lost his deposit, etc. So the seller just wanted the same price that was agreed 9 months back. So we was like, wow, that's an amazing price. We went and viewed it, and straight away we fell in love with it. We wanted it for ourselves at first. So we said, look, this is the budget to renovate it. It was a little bit dilapidated, needed, never been upgraded. So we said, yeah, we'll have that. We then issued the tenant that was currently in there, the vacate notice. So we had 12 months to plan for the renovation and the fit out, etc. Along 6 months along the way, the tenant decided he wanted to vacate early, which was great for us because business was going well. We managed to save up the budget that we needed to do the renovation, so it was sort of win-win. He could leave early without any penalty, and we could get started straight away. So we'd obviously done a lot of research with the fit-out companies. I think we sort of shortlisted 6 or so, got them in for a best and final, and then we selected a company called Meraki Interiors. Even now I'm still grateful we went with that option, even though they wasn't the cheapest, simply because of their reputation, how they dealt with us as a customer. They knew exactly what we wanted from the outset, and to date, even though we're 85% completion, we haven't had a single issue with the fit-out company. They've gone above and beyond what we could ever imagine, which is amazing for me to say, really, because usually...
Well, let's be honest, we know contractors from anywhere, like the UK, whether it's like everywhere, it's always like, yeah, that'll be ready in 4 weeks, and then 8 weeks later, like, they're still like half done. But tell us exactly, what was the duration that they set exactly for the building to be completed?
So they said they could complete a full rip-out from scratch, so every wall down inside, apart from structural, they could start from scratch to completion in 16 weeks. 16
weeks, that's 4 months for a whole fit out.
Again, this sounds like, he's just trying to give you a timeline to do that. He said, I'm that confident we can finish with that, I will put a financial penalty in for any days later than the contract finish date, which is for us, which was amazing.
Well, no one's going to put that financial penalty in there unless they're that confident in their own ability to do it, isn't it? So in 16 weeks, so from purchase date, you had to wait a bit of time to get the tenant out, but then you obviously had the time to get the interior all designed by the guys, and then obviously they've set a timeline of 16 weeks. So from start to finish, you've now got this timeline, which is almost complete, which is exciting. So tell us, we want to talk a bit of, talk about figures here, because, for anyone watching, you're probably wondering how much would it cost to like completely renovate a whole 7,500 size villa. How much did that cost?
So we purchased it at 4.5 million.
Yeah.
And we set a budget of 2 million dirham for that.
2 million dirhams.
And that's internal. That's an external pool, which is 18 metres by 9, and all the landscaping for a 12,500 square foot plot. We're just under budget. I'm hoping there's no sort of surprises, but even if so, we've got a contingency fund, which I think is amazing, because again, the quality and the finish and the features that we've asked for, I don't know how he's done it. He's been very, very good to us, which I'm quite surprised.
It's absolutely incredible. So from sourcing a distress deal, which it came onto the market, you've then been able to renovate the whole thing, and now, what kind of asking price do you think that this villa is now worth? What was the market say it's worth?
So, yeah, it's interesting really, because an agent had already come to us just over a week ago and said, I have a buyer. He has a budget of 10 million. Would you be interested? And obviously that's a number that I've never come across in my life before.
Yeah.
And I said, unfortunately not. We think that we can sort of achieve 12 to 12 and a half. There's other villas that are smaller villas on the community that have done similar standards, similar high standard, and they're asking for 12 million. They've already got a tenant in situ that's rented out for 950,000.
950. How much is that in pounds? So everyone knows, it's like 200,000 pounds.
It's just shy of 200,000 pounds.
200,000 pound, yeah, for a year. So that's incredible. So you've now got the opportunity to potentially sell this and make a huge profit. So even you want to live in this villa, right? So obviously for you, it's not like I don't need to sell it. So, getting offered 10 million, first of all, that's incredible. That'd be a couple of million profit just, after a few months, you know what I mean? But, to then obviously potentially put it on the market, which is what you're thinking of doing, or?
So we're undecided at the minute. I still think that there's going to be a lot more growth in the market and pricing, especially for the large plot villas, because there is a huge demand for it, and the supply is limited. If you sort of look at, say, the Palm Jumeirah, Dubai Hills, any of the sort of big areas that have large plots, the prices are increasing drastically.
Yeah, they are.
And I think it's simply because a lot of more high net worth individuals are moving to here or relocating, and they're wanting the luxury, they're wanting the bigger units now, because there's very little supply within the key areas that I mentioned. they're now starting to look further out of sort of the central hubs.
Yeah.
So a 10-minute drive for your ideal villa within your budget is maybe a little bit more appealing now for a lot of buyers.
Yeah, no, you're right about the supply and demand. Like we've mentioned before, that the supply is going up, but the villas might not be ready until 2025. So anything that's ready now, it's just not on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of projects though that people are like missing out on. You could actually spend 15 to 20 million on a villa that's going to be ready in 5 years or whatever. But people don't understand that if they find someone, with a little bit of market knowledge, a villa can be sourced, can be renovated to what exactly they are looking for.
Yep.
They can get a specification of what they really want from interior designers, from architects, from developers, and then have their dream home. Tell us about what your favourite feature is in your home.
So I've decided to have a floor-to-ceiling aquarium. So taken out the full wall and then put this aquarium in place. We've had to import the tank from Asia. And we've selected a company here to do all the coral inside and supply with the fish and all the life support system as well. So again, a massive adventure for me to see that, to be able to build our own home from scratch and put in something
that must be such an achievement though, being able to build something that you've created, you've funded from your hard work over the years, and now you're actually building something that you can call your own. Yeah,
and it's all down to coming to the UAE. I still, it sounds a bit cliche, but it's a land of opportunity for us. If you've got the right mentality and you look in the right places, there's a lot of successful people here. Learn from people who have the knowledge and how to do well here. Fortunately, things have been going well with businesses and other opportunities that we've had here with the property development and the renovations. Obviously, I'm very excited to see what the next project may be. Again, I'll be keeping in touch with a lot of the agents to see what we can do that way. But again, there's it's such a busy place now. These opportunities, they are out there, but you've just got to have your ear to the ground to find them.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about when we said, it's important to have somebody that understands what you actually want. So if you're like, Joe, I need to find, listen, I've got a cash fund that's willing to, I'm willing to spend it on projects that maybe are distressed deals, and then I would understand that, I know that you're into the development side of things, and then going forward, you would have that one person to actually, help you source this kind of thing, and it's important to, understand that,
Definitely, and it's about relationship building. You have to work with people who understand what you're looking for, and obviously, business, as with anything, it's all about relationships. If we go away and you know exactly what I'm looking for, you have a seller or something comes on across your lap that you think, actually, Jonny might need that, or such a body might need that, and then obviously if it's available and it's of interest, then you can move quickly on opportunities.
Absolutely. And one question I've got about building this villa, what's been the most stressful part of it? Because there's got to be some stress in that. When I see your stories on Instagram, I'm like, God, that just even though you're not physically doing it, it's like, that's yours, and it just looks stressful.
Yeah. The only thing that's actually caused me any headache is the windows.
Really?
We've had to import them from Spain. So the frames,
there's got to be something though.
It's just because we're under a tight deadline, and obviously I've tried to bring brands and products that I want to be implemented into the renovation. These particular windows, because they have zero profile, so it's literally like floor to ceiling glass panes that run on a track. So that's what we wanted. So where we look out of our living room, there's no frames around the windows. It's simply 4 panes that connect together, and you can slide them over and they hide into a pocket into the wall. So when they're open, you can simply see all the view of the pool and over the park.
That's a lot of what you'll see in a lot of the modern design villas, frameless frameless windows, and everything is just, everything's just neat and tidy throughout the whole villa, and that's what makes it, so unique and so, up to the standard that we're looking at villas now. As we mentioned before, the most expensive villa just sold on the Palm for 302.5 million dirhams, which the level of luxury that's coming to Dubai now is just second to none. But what would your advice be to somebody, coming over to Dubai, looking at maybe getting into renovating and flipping and that kind of buying and selling mentality?
I think definitely do your research. We spent 6 months researching in terms of what we wanted to do with that. Check the communities that you're interested in. Again, understand the cost per square foot, either to purchase, and again, compare that against the rental prices to see if your yields are sort of attractive enough to go down that road. Make friends with a lot of the agents, reach out to them and ask them, tell them what you're looking for to do. Tell them your budget, just be transparent with them and say, I have this much, is it possible? Or do I need to save for a little bit more to get something with a higher yield? I think there's so much options here. I think there's an option for most people who want to get into that type of business.
Yeah, there's all different levels to it, isn't there? If your budget might only be 3-4 million, then there is definitely a starting point somewhere. It just needs to be evaluated properly so you can pick the area that you want to work from, and then evaluate if you were going to resell that property in that area, is the market looking like it would actually have any increase in the future?
Yeah. So again, if the value of the property is going to appreciate, or your rental, you want to rent it out for a few years because rental prices are good now. Again, it's down to your risk appetite and how you want to do it. But there's a renovation for most budgets here. I think if you just do the right research and look in the right areas, definitely I think, and even though I've only done a few of these right now, even mainly small ones, but obviously the big one now, it's been really enjoyable. It's been hard.
Well, that's the thing. As long as you enjoy it, what I mean.
And the good thing is the wife, she's just left me to it. She's just been really supportive and made sure that we can do everything and get everything on time, ready to move in.
Amazing. And Jonny, just before we wrap this up, what message would you have to anyone who's thinking about coming over to Dubai and investing in this amazing city?
I'd say do your research again. Make friends here, make contacts, network, and then obviously once you're comfortable and know how things operate here, then go for it. It's a really good place to do business and invest.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, if you've been watching this, then I hope you've enjoyed my chat with Jonny. I'll tag him below so you can check out his progress on his villa down below. And I'm sure if you've got any questions on renovations or even advice on getting into this sort of industry, then I'm sure Jonny can give you his advice on what to do, and I can give you advice on what deals to find and help you find them. So thank you all for watching. Jonny, it's been a pleasure.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.